na wabompaye ama yahye nwumire dwumadie yase. So enua Collins bompaye ni wie a msese de Dr. Opoku Jamfi wabeka ye ho nti waka ye busia no ho nti munyina munni no onhia introduction tintin bia na no pade ba kwa mamisa se anye bia Mrs. Wawola yi so.
There be uniso.
Okay.
Ano panomu program was sorry hunty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and your momo koi.
Yo, and yeah.
What
the yanchia amano. Maybe one of these days, you be home in person, na yeshia, or no mom we knew or my back, Jaya or my home.
Yo, that's it.
So, Collins, Miss Rob, I and Maya, we are. And I should my DNS.
Me anom ye bompae. Inyankopon ya bankas ya dawase. When to me nyina wo. And every so me de ya sanhia awo anim. Eja dwumadi a ye bedi nyina hya wonsa. Ye de kasama fo nso ehya wonsa. Estro say yini peduasi nchen na ma wonko embehye ne ma. Amfa ne mu nkasa. Enso ayetie enso ma wonko mehye yemu na yentie na sopem yemfa nkɔbɔ abrabo pa. Awasane wonu wonyam na tosumie no a oma ya anya yira.
Amen.
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 Okay. The massive idinyamiasi se waboa yen na ahwe ye so abedu samre osama yakonya bi ma abihie monyumre. Topic we a mood ntina mehwese ne time na ya na ye na esese me sone so kakra. Ntino se ne ya na me dia na kameta pen ne se me ya na me de research na science ni research na support to the American nyina na me de ba. Se de be ya obi but eno na ya ma ne che. Ntino ene me yini nyina afrim. Nti so the bear betimi a content na yetimi ama kwan na ebisa questions because enra yentimi emisa questions nti na se obi ehia specific research supporting documents ahumi a metimi e di ama nti anwumre yi yebeka proteins, the good, the bad, the ugly. Awesome. Idea hu hia pa na enra me kan sem bi say the two things be in a modern society ya yet to aduane a ama yare bebre to us at the say yare bebre gu yeso. One of those the refining of our food na sa fiber no ifim na enra ye call a little bit into details on about the fiber. The second thing, I need the promotion of animal protein. Into the processing of the food, plants the processing here the now for you promote animal protein on the other end. Now these two twins and the twin disaster of our modern day health. And no and creating a lot of the crisis in protein was and the good, the bad, the ugly. Not just say it is not all bad and it's not all good. There is some good in there, there's some bad in there, and there's some very, very ugly stuff. In Tiano Yabeka was in Tianshas you feed the good. Idea ye protein. Into the good protein. What is protein? Protein granted yade. And Niani, Yakasa Niani Nura, Yo Niani Nuron Ahu Rom you know, your friend macronutrients. Macro no HSA and your micro and also just in Kitwa. Now macro no yamiensa. Carbohydrates, fat, and a protein. In the protein, one of the macronutrients. And as in Nurakasiano, Niansana or Honomano, Imubako, any protein. Now, protein, your friendly protein, dear, and so, you were building blocks and getting to be a share. Emma a better than protein. It is a usi dying. Usi dying, we are all dying. And so, and yet a dying, you see dying. Yeah, the bricks. And now this is sha now the see dying. We a key, a important point to me say a so if you say yeah, sometimes people be very confused. Any health education, a lot of even health professionals are still confused on this point. Say, and yet a dying and a DC dying. You don't need protein to build protein. And you don't hear bricks to build a house. Same thing, so protein, we hear building blocks now. You see, now some building blocks, yeah, you hear to build protein. I have 20. Now some 20 in your friend amino acids. And you know, ni tier and say protein one of macronutrients are the blocks and building blocks to our friend amino acids 20 and our building. Now protein you want pim and so sa pim no ppp na no you decide 20 amino acids see pe and at the building. That is said here OBAC one single room and also OBAC abrosan etwaso and abrosan etwaso miensa. Now we see the different styles. We see need a round house, we see need a triangular house, we see need a pentagon, we see need a octagon. And you share different shapes and types of houses, but ni na the same bricks no na yedisi. Edeshe. Sa pepe and a proteins, so you have thousands of them, but all of them you need just the 20 amino acids. A fundamental point here, it makes the whole argument on protein very, very easy. And a lot of the arguments, and you see, say, unfortunately, and carry weight. Okay, into good idea. What proteins are? Proteins, and the DNA and Pedriana idea. You hear proteins. And now proteins, because you hear proteins, I'm talking about say woody, because woody proteins now. And Nipediano digests the protein and breaks it down to the amino acids. Now, after the amino acids, now as building blocks, and I make one and they are building structure crowd, person building. In the structures, they say cell structure, structure, then they say, said yeah, the bricks, a build a see dino. So now Benipedia immune swear, yeah, the cells and the associated Nipediano. In the Nipediano, a bricks, a building blocks on any friend cell. Now cell no was structure be a sum a transhusiana a sum thing and no structure no a protein here there. Because a protein make amino acids because in Ipediano udidia or digest protein no we're breaking it down to amino acids. Now the amino acids are build the cell structure. Hormones are whole right where more estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. Hormones are one Ipediano munina the protein, amino acids, and the building. Enzymes, your chemicals be a boa, reactions, a cosu nipeduano, a cosu, a bini digestive enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, near whole Diana Abiguso, Nama Ebiana Yam Yin. Nina, the amino acids and the building. A tring so. And here amino acids and they are building between me. Your moire, the same thing, your muscle, your skin, emoja, numpeni no here so building blocks here amino acids and they are, which means you say, so would a protein woman, they are very important. And we hear so many a protein woman because and no over digest now your dear sa in your way. That is something good about proteins. I feel young way. I feel 9 year protein no a hin free. So slide when we see a shiny year because a lot of Sabia tell me I'm a carbon tina me a year. Meet me interactive kakra. Sabia who question out to me stop me no be some to us. Now say baby I'm a me interactive questions no slide will be a question so. Because I said maybe question was what are the sources of protein? But before I me come baby me interactive discussion lectures yeah me di kan bisa the nipa na e wo ho no questions say what is protein obi a name protein dia onim ansa na me wi am start lecture no kra. Now most of the time me bisa say can you name one protein guess what obi a say eggs or chicken beef and nam kwa na obi a ebodin say protein. And that idea say protein is equivalent to meat in tea. So me this slide way to honoma they be minya questions. So but that slide way a purposeful. I said na me dey to hosa. Me say what are the sources of proteins? Now question item number one of plants and microorganisms synthesize all the amino acids needed to build protein. In point number one, I answer the question completely, but just for the avoidance of doubt, number 2 and 3 what this means, say your cost, say your buff form, say your cost, there be a better beyond protein, the source, near one plants, any microorganisms. A whole protein is free because proteins, no if free amino acids, if we building blocks, it is said you will be some amazing. Say blocks created in a wire blocks. Obeka just say, oh, me here cement kakra na me di anya kakra fra. Na me di nsu afra na my na mold no na better than breaks. Sa pepe. In the plants, any microorganisms, you omu was nutrients na omu here to build these amino acids. In the point number 2, no so. Or say animals and humans can synthesize 8 amino acids. So 20 no nipa any emmoa yetimi synthesize nipa duana nkasa yeduane ayedi no yetimi eye
it's a cannot
cannot yetimi ye emu 12 na emu 8 no yentimi synthesize enti we no no your friend no saying essential amino acids and no naturally say as I say would free abontin would free waduane na emmoa kese te say osono na anantwie ni buffaloes a omo ho odin na no omo proteins no omo nya free plants enti no say obi say what are the sources of protein okasa chicken ni beef ni eggs naturally say onyante concept na se ye enti no the question yes me say biemu and you know what are the best sources of protein? I have said so question no mashada na maybe say na unsa question now question is plural. What are the best sources of proteins? But we answer now a singular. It's plants are the best source of proteins. I have no so mashada my deliberate play on words to show say truly and really no so all kind of year there's only one source. Plants. Plants. And this is the good about protein. Unfortunately, because the industry has done a very good job of marketing their products by telling us to say protein is equivalent to animal food. And a lot of the times, my patients be so where do you get your protein from? Especially say out of through the discussion, no who say me a vegetarian. Basically, me a plant-based vegetarian, which means say me use animal products. There are no eggs, no dairy, no cheese, nothing. And basically, say I until I can and run. I practice what I teach or what I preach, and I've been doing this for 31 years. 31. And my yes, our lifestyle. Where do you get your protein from? Now, besides our question now, it means the person does not know plants. If you know your plants well, you know your protein. Until you have to share the bad. The bad about proteins. What are the bad things about protein? Now, bad, there are some myths about proteins. Unfortunately, now the first myth, is saying, almost plant proteins are incomplete proteins. They are incomplete proteins. DNT no mokasa. Omo ye fundamental mistake. So our first line na make say because say you don't need protein to build protein. You need amino acids to build protein. And you don't need a house to build a house. You need bricks to build a house. That is a fundamental error now. Say plant proteins are incomplete. Why? Omo assume say ufa plant biya na say when all the 20 amino acids no more na a say incomplete because plant biya ni hono ma fa all the 20 amino acids ni na wo. Ebi o hono mo a na 18, na ebi o hono 16, na ebi o hono 19, na ebi o sa. Enti omo argument no. But me ma minche mu kakra de enti am say argument here flawed and I say unfortunate. Protein at a cell see die. A die ye wo die akese na ye wo die aketewa. Enti ne se wo bia wo de uhia ne se wo be see one bedroom chamber and hall Ghana say your friend no. We see one bedroom bi na wo nya kitchen kakra no nya hall bi o honom. That's all you need. Enti we see wo die kakra bi a wo dem a wo ba wa. Na se obi nso the family size he has 5-bedroom house. No stress in a 5-bedroom house with a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen. Can you tell me, say, the 1-bedroom house only an incomplete house? You cannot say that. Say because this is a 1-bedroom house and it's small, it's incomplete because all you needed was 1,000 bricks to build it. But where the 5 bedrooms because you needed 20,000 bricks to build it, and because of that, this is a complete house and this is incomplete. So nobody will say that. Unfortunately, no. So that is the exact same argument. And those who say plant proteins are incomplete, no more. I mean, another example, Emra. Okay, your English language, it's alphabets 26. From A, B, C, D, R to Z. And one year they form all the words, all the phrases, and books I actually A, B, C to Z, and they form. Ain't you know say me form word to say table, table. Who say a short word? Table, short. Next obi nsuba na ono so form word be to say elephant, ELEPHANT, elephant. A longer word. Can you tell me say table no is an incomplete word and the elephant is a complete word because it's longer? No. Because you are building the word in accordance with your need. Word krona uhia say udeye a short sentence mono, that's the word you create or build. In the same way, we have 20 amino acids to build all the proteins in the world, and the body builds the proteins in accordance with the need. It's of a plant. That's a plant, 16 amino acids in the woman. What it means in this say, all the proteins in the plant, the plant only needs 16 amino acids in different combinations to make it. It doesn't mean that plant proteins are incomplete. So that's the myth number one. Make us say the bad about proteins. Number two, because of this second myth, this first myth, they go on to say plant proteins are not as good as animal proteins. Why? Because so for animal protein, now you get all the 20 amino acids in there. And that shouldn't be a surprise because are very complex. We have millions of different proteins. Over hormones proteins are hormones, millions and millions and millions. And they are very, very complex. But in fact, I know any answer and Casanam scientist, any party are complete. They said the abrosign, abrosign, it was a complete house and a 1-bedroom house and you're complete. Number three, because of this same argument, in the say plant proteins, as I say, combine, we said that actively combining in order to get the complete protein. And also, because everything you eat, your body doesn't know proteins. Your body knows amino acids. Until you need to digest, so we break it down the protein into its amino acids. Now, amino acids from different sources. We may plants, these are vegetables, crabby brio, or amino acids room, broccoli, amino acids room. So, and so the body now reassembles all these amino acids to build the protein it needs. And so there is no need for a deliberate combination. So make sure that combine. Science has disproven this, and yet this myth is still being perpetuated. Number 4, almost say plant proteins are poorly digested. Now I know you'll be surprised who any part a promote to our ideas. In fact, me personally body because there is a very famous cardiologist. He's a very good cardiologist. You give him that. Why a lot of pioneering work in cardiology, or you good. But or promote to our method. So many beans, and yeah, because something digesting all is based on a myth. Plant protein is the most easily digestible protein source you can find. Number 5, almost plant proteins alone are not sufficient for health. And you hear your market free one, the final conclusion is so per se, otia pona unyini ye na unya hodin dia, ene untimi enye vegetarian. Ese sa wenam, ese udikusia, and nunti na omu promote no sabe brain. But we nyina a myth. And that is the bad about proteins. Now, the last thing, how did this myth start? How myths you can start here? And free. Now, when I was digging, I found out something very interesting. Well, here we are. Where did they find the research network? Just in case, so be person who are and I was here. Published in 1914. Can you believe that? 1914 in the Journal of Biological Chemistry. Now, 1914, 2 scientists, be any others, yeah, but these are the 2 major scientists. So be Mike and I are unmuted. A critique, a yikakra feedback. Okay. In 1914, Osborn and Mendel almost studied the protein requirements of lab rats. Protein do inkura here. Say omudibaye de omudibenini. Okay, that's it. And almost study the rats protein requirements of lab rats. Now, almost study and almost conclusion was say rats they don't grow well on plant protein except animal protein. So and so based on this study and almost extrapolating, what science may find extrapolation. And almost extrapolate the conclusion of this study and almost generalizing and say, and I'm saying, enkura plant protein, it means say the best form of protein for growth and development, is animal protein. Can you believe that? But they forget to say rats, now, dispel the myth. The first point I forget is one. We are not rats. And our rats and so growth requirements are different from human growth requirements. That's point number 1. Point number 2. A kura and mame milk contain 10 times more protein than human milk. It is our chim and nipa. Now protein content, now the 2 ekura Emame enufusio mu a protein enufusio a wohwe protein no a nkura de no 10 times more by volume. Ntuhwe volume na 10 times more protein in rat milk than in human milk. Point number 3. Nkura it take almost 4 days. Ya wu ekura mame wu ekura to on there. 4 days pepe no double in weight. In this ekura no yemfa say ya wu no to ho no 10 grams in 4 days no 20 grams. In ipan so it take in 6 months. 6 months into our growth requirements and yet the same. Point number 4. 1 day in a rat's life is like 35 days in a human's life. And now 1 month in a rat's life, I had 3 years. Oh, in a life. Untimi emfa one single, especially specific a rat, no, emfa and justify. But myth now me can't want some say plant proteins are not good, they are incomplete, they are not adequate for health, and they must be combined, and they are not as good as animal protein. All came from that one study now. Osborne and Mendel in 1914. That's where it all came from. Okay, the ugly. You hear the ugly. How much protein do we need per day? Protein saying that you hear to survive. According to the World Health Organization, they only recommend this say, so you be only about 0.75 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. But we are seeing how no science organizations in US has a USDA, FDA, National Institute of Health, no more recommended 0.8 grams of protein per kilograms per body weight. And now say 0.36 grams per pound. Say America has a use pounds instead of kilograms. It basically that will run up to something like 56 grams in an average male, and a ma 46 grams. A ma here less protein than men. But the ugly, one of the ugly things, say, we are getting more than 100 grams of protein. Why? Why are we getting so much? Because of the industry. The industry, they say, here, as I say, they make sure, say, recommendations na animal protein heavy. And nuntina, the average individual on the street will stop and all this and say, dear na udia. I mean, here protein or and natural. Now, most of the time, in clinic, yeah, in the type of medicine I'm practicing. So be bad. You be a friend of diet recall. You might need no kind of drink OD or be try or kai an average breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, so more intake form, no more failing intake form now. I eat salad and a protein. Very common. Oh, salad and these greens and a protein. Most of the time, nobody will say, what do you mean by a protein? Because I eat some chicken wings, or I eat sausages or hamburgers, and the average man and I is a protein and nothing I did more and amount for dinner, breakfast, lunch, any dinner. So the question is why? Okay, this is part of the ugly answer. What is ugly about protein? In the 1900s, nutritional scientists in Europe, Mokaya Enra, you can say European nutritional scientists in Wasam. Omuana, Omoka fiber here, Omo a refined feed animal. Omo abium. Almost say no more person omu nipa. Some that was the time before the scientific method of determining how much protein is in food, ever. It is some they're not researching not mostly observational studies. You taking conclusions. And omu person how much protein we need to survive and to be able to work hard. And so they studied laborers in a coal mine. Now, almost study almost show Madiani or Moody and Opa, Rian, and almost many booyahs. Okay, you should be any ya. I'm so way the 50 grams of protein. You share away, I'm so way 60 grams. Into Chrome has eyeballing. Into me eyeballing, no san and almost estimate is almost share. A strong working man needs about 120 grams of protein daily. And based on that, they concluded, say, and so that is what we need for health. And when they were coming here to America, the New World, they brought this idea here. And so this idea came here, and then Osborne and Mendel brought that rat, studies, so and he made matters worse. So this is where that myth came from observational study of laborers working in a coal mine. All right, the last part of the ugliness, protein, ye over 100 grams of protein, a DM pan, Samubekaya, and Rami can say, so be Antony Yari and was someone. Man, and you're disappointed because by the time I go through, na Oyari appeal. Research actually say a high protein diet, is correlated with all these diseases: high cholesterol, saturated fats, and a homocysteine. High cholesterol, why? Because cholesterol, if we are more. And so the idea is that protein comes from animal foods, and we are promoting high consumption of animal protein. And what we are indirectly promoting is high cholesterol. And don't think a problem with saturated fat, and also your friend is a metabolic syndrome. You want truncal obesity, especially men be brave. Unfortunately, because what it means is that you are depositing fat intra-abdominally, and I say inside the organs, and your friend visceral fat, and none of they are really brave. And men say, and no, you're one of the things that you say prostate cancer, and a homocysteine. And so homocysteine, so a byproduct of protein metabolism, correlated with heart disease. Into high protein diet, and air courses are especially animal protein. Number 2, premature sexual maturity in girls. First, a core infiltrate 16 years. They be a 17, 18. And you see you're grown a bra. Now, Chrome has said you more be the sweet 16. That sweet 16 came about because that was the time around the average time and a period. But they say 9-year-olds are getting pregnant. Why? Because of the premature sexual maturity. A high protein and high fat diet, a promote. Now, don't make any mistake. High premature maturity, also means premature aging, and also means it draws you closer to your death. And you say it's our life is 8 years. Oh, not just our lifespan, and so 8 years. In this Amobaka, your quotation be our counsels on diet and food, or say, Emra, any pashas, yes, OD and Amono. Young Kwana 8 years, because before the flood, and then 800 years, 900 years. After the flood, and our lifespan started going down. Because that protein, animal products, and that's what they do. I feel a decreased physical endurance. A decreased physical endurance. And no, a high animal protein consumption, and maunya stamina. So, okay, a more bit is a jatanis, bonomoa. obetimi apamo abo be pam no sa kiki abo no atwini mu be 5 minutes no wanya no pe no wabre enti no omu need that endurance no but wo hwe amo a ewi haban buffalo otwe no ne nantwie obetimi atumrika the whole day no mre. Why? Because plant protein no actually builds endurance, whereas animal protein decreases endurance. Number 4, a promote heart disease. Heart disease, say research, I had to say rabbit hole. Every time you discover something new. At first, if you say because promote atherosclerosis through fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, and homocysteine intra. But now we are finding out more. Me was slide the bio has a community me can want some kesi. But you name say one ugly thing with high protein consumption, especially animal protein consumption, is heart disease and diabetes. Diabetes is the same thing. Me a program, me run a program you are a clinic or my diabetes reversal a clinic, a type 2 diabetes. Now, most of the time, not just a woman has struggled with their diabetes for years. And so, most of them, they have one thing in common. So, you catch it almost say, if you are diabetic and you open reverse now, it's a carbohydrate, so now the protein, fat be brave. Unfortunately, yes, our protein and fat, no mum, and air course, so speeding up. Into one of the things we do in that clinic, and they say, you curtail protein consumption quite drastically, especially the animal protein, and that's how we reverse diabetes. It's amazing when you see it working. To say, oh, reverse diabetes, I affect what? Nyame simple. Or say, I'm using the simple things of life to confound the wise. Oh, niaman kitin bi a yemu na yebu yanim guso na eno na ode confound enipa no. Now there's a particular a patient bi oba na oba no okatire ne doctor say oba me ho na doctor say o menko aduane diabetes untimi nkio no. Nti oba no okatire me na me bisa no say oh okay how long na why diabetic? Was 15 years. And I say nti in the 15 years now honorable doctor and catch that say diabetes no betimi reverse with all his best efforts. I know say he has his best efforts now put to forward. Or say there be or your catch me and say you can only manage it, you cannot reverse it. And I'm saying that's exactly why he's telling you say any money, because he doesn't get the concept to say you can reverse it and you cannot give what you don't have. He doesn't believe in it, and he can't give it. So right now, take your health into your hands and take this first step. And taking the steps, he reverses diabetes. I feel cancer. The you can was my say monodo amuti lecture now. NASDAQ for lecture now. I dedicated the whole 1 hour to cancer. So cancer is a preventable disease. Now, animal protein is one of the key main things. Now, one of the things are, I should emphasize, but one thing I'm move on and they say, there is one particular protein here. Research has shown, say, it is a fertilizer to cancer cells. And I don't know anything, casein, milk protein. So, the good cancer, and money grow from the other fertilizer go use. And if you haven't heard anything about animal protein and cancer, don't forget casein. Okay, kidney stones. Kidney stones, so of course, one of the causes, any high animal protein. Now I don't know a lot of the times, athletes be brave or mobile. Echo gym, no ya ton protein, more animal protein. Whey protein in this animal, no more, kidney stones. Any people brave no more, but no kidney stones. So no more say. Me person me say some in my life now because me kidney stones almost every 3 months. Do you know me aye? O baby sa na obehwe history no na o use protein shakes. Into be year free ho no ko. Kidney failure Kidney failure. So can you believe you say? I've had 2 patients. Now almost kidney function echo from pa na you see dialysis. So they didn't want to go on dialysis and they came to the clinic. We changed their diet. We taking all animal protein from their diet. In 3 months, na EGFR, na a move from 30 to 51 in 3 months. In the next 3 months, not above normal, not above 60. And one of the things in dialysis centers because of this, of osteoporosis, gout, and a systemic inflammation. This is the last slide. Okay. This research was researched a Cleveland clinic scientist and now who say consumption of high animal foods. What you are doing is you are actually generating a certain type of bacteria. Now the bacteria ferments the animal protein and choline found in eggs. They convert it to a chemical called TMA. TMA stands for trimethylamines. Now, converting TMA is very toxic and fat soluble, and so across the liver, I converted TMA into TMAO, so that it can get rid of it as a water soluble byproduct. Now, TMAO is very, very toxic, even though it's water soluble, and this is what it does to your body. Chronic kidney disease, it initiates it, it progresses it, it causes atherosclerosis, it causes heart attacks, it is linked with type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome. So I say, "Mama, yarebia ho asem. Yeka proteins, the good, the bad, the ugly, but if you are who will appear, proteins obsession now in society with protein, and no, it's one of the reasons why we have so many of these diseases that we have today. And then we don't need all that. The best source of protein are your plants. You can get all the protein you need, and mind you, you need the amino acids, and you get all of it from plants to build all the protein that your body needs. The question is
Hello.
Dr. Yadawase, Sabre was what? Yes, what question, what comment?
Please, name your question.
Uncle, please, I'm sorry.
Sir, we are vegetarian now. What we normally hear and say, you lack B12 because B12 is only gotten from animals. What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's a very, very, very important question. Now, the good, you can't say plants and microorganisms can synthesize all the amino acids, the 20 amino acids. Now that is the same principle underlying B12. A true say animal products no B12, but the animals don't synthesize B12. The B12 is synthesized by microorganisms. So they have these microorganisms. B12 synthesizing bacteria. They synthesize it, and it gets incorporated into the tissues of the animals. And a true say B12 but we necessarily don't need animals to get B12, because now science has been able to say, okay, these microorganisms, why don't we grow them on a farm? They said they will grow any plant, and let them synthesize the B12, and then we can extract it. And that is how supplemental B12, and that is how it is made. And yes, we as vegetarians, we don't get B12 from plants, but you can get it as a supplement synthesized by microorganisms without going to get the animals, which of course don't even make it in the first place. But because it's incorporated in them, nobody really takes the trouble to go into all these details to tell you, say, microorganisms be and a warm one more synthesizing. Yamana assumes as sound to say, by all means, you have to eat them to get it. And to me, as a plant-based vegetarian and I even friendly vegan, I take a B12 supplement. And they are not there, but all my patients say, yes, you want to live a plant-based lifestyle, you have to get a B12 supplement. And there are a lot of good ones out there. That's it.
Ajua.
But my question is, Enra, Dr. Mayetia says plants you need cholesterol. My question is, and you maybe to say peanut butter, vegetable oils, sanimanyamano. As the atron was a plant based, and so most you be bread detrimental to us. Intino, dear intina, intimin D as much as we want. The question.
Doc, can I augment no obscenity in the Afra?
There
was a time when my triglycerides called very high. And my doctor attempted to give me statins. And I met catch and said no. Me a vegan, now me did peanut butter a lot. And me jai peanut butter day for 1 year. And I went on almond butter. That year, my triglycerides and my cholesterol be also tiba for me. But I was thinking, say, those were the things I was eating at the core for a course. Me jai peanut butter day for 1 year, no, it came down. Intimidate for I got question I didn't know.
Yo, but that's a very, very good now we should be first a friend is saying first person account in our money. You true say plants, cholesterol name. But you see, there is something I say cholesterol no. You need to synthesizing all the cholesterol we need because hormones, the cholesterol, and hormones. Hormones be bring here cholesterol to make them. Intuition BB to say testosterone. No. And our body makes it. But then, so would a lot of the there were certain vegetable oils be very high in the omega-6 oils, omega-6 fatty acids. Now, so omega-6 fatty acids, pro-inflammatory. Now, peanut butter, peanut oil, and a lot of these vegetable oils here, high in omega-6. And omega-6, and what they do, they say, stimulate your liver, make it more natural cholesterol. And in addition to that, also stimulate triglyceride production. And in fact, in your case, maybe I know can say coconut oil, yeah. Yeah, coffee, you Ghana of New York, can buy. Or buy the lab, none cholesterol in no. And so she said, in a DDN, can I maybe say, would you have no catch him? Maybe the question was, oh, no crap. Matisse, coconut oil, yeah. In the Misoriano, Pebia. No, you 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And why and no amount triglycerides. And in there you cost run. And the key here, what said, even though oil see and naturally and containing cholesterol naturally, because of the omega-6 content and because of their ability to stimulate the liver's natural ability to make cholesterol, a promote to triglyceride formation and a promote to high cholesterol synthesis. And untina oteswa most of the time, some will be with their cholesterol. These are the things vegetable oils, cooking oil, all the fried foods near your cutting without statins. It's unbelievable. Believable. It's a good example. That's it. Your question for
yeah. Meanwhile, another question, but the last one.
Okay.
Smoothies. fruits are yes, you blend it. I any smoothies. And no now ka fibers them. A year good and I say baby. And a 2 vegetables any fruits are ye di jaka and I say ye noa. A say no and I say yeah okay.
Okay. Yo, very good question. That's it. Yamfa is smooth, and chassis. Generally speaking, so yes smoothie, na say all the fruit to blend them now blend it with everything we want. Everything is there. You have the fiber, you have the macronutrients, this protein, carbohydrates, generally speaking, and bad. But when you look beyond the generality, beyond the superficial, it's something you shouldn't make a habit. Say they be out instead of so be no blend, no one. Why? Because good digestion begins from the mouth. Na salivary glands secrete salivary juices na egu aduane no na eboa digestion nti aduane no kwa woyam a no facilitate the extracting of all the nutrients na woman. Nti even though once in a while it won't hurt to say what the fruit ni na ebegu mo na wa blend na wa on enya de yesi and habit. We are better off say you be di fruit no me yawe now what to boss now enjoy because when him say always no the taste the way I an part the lecture na sermon na make the hypothalamic control no one of the things they say udi aduane no the taste no na kwa taste buds no ni nyina no ya part of the satisfaction of eating. Now so no more you don't get that satisfaction. Oh, and that satisfaction of eating also a part of the well-being. A woman who are unipebiano is a sin of so. Omo ye experiment be nkwara de bia ye bo omo ye bonu wi a na ma na aduane adi. O man said that say omo yes sir. But omo observe cultures bia as a child abuse nkwara ye bo omo na ye mo aduane di. Eni nkwara ye mo omo di anigye na didie. They looked at the development of those two. No mo who say they were developing nicely. And omudi soon and edidino. The same eduane, but these were not developing properly. Now, what they found and they say that whole psychological aspect of eating was what was lacking. Now you miss some of that if you have the habit of every time blending one more. You miss some of that. That is that. The second question about vegetables are yedi jeka. Vegetables you will move bebre. Ebi ohonoma obetime in raw and na obetime so in cooked. And the vegetable be obetime in raw na obetime say in cooked no. And yes I oben one too much. Because I won't want too much. Your phytonutrients be and I say in what plants more water soluble. Now, and I'm saying water soluble, ebi ohonoma it me evaporate with the onwana ehuru and sioni hurua. It me evaporate one of those typical folate. Folate say green leafy yimuno. So one be you lose some folate. Ebi became but you lose some. So the idea and ideally all the vegetables are obet me raw now obet me asa no. So pesa ebi a wonwa na easy ma wa men no steam no kakra bi. Enti so ni huru fa so kakra bi na no odumja no so de be ya it will still be fresh and it will be a little better crunchy and easier for you to chew on. And that is usually the ideal way of preparing vegetables. Now vegetables so untimi any no raw na esa wonwa no. And no the esa wonwa but wonwa men no ma na nya peche because ebi ho no ma wonwa utimi so ade yaben. And yes wonwa ma na peche. And also uye ne sa na wasai bibi um. Remember my typical example. Broccoli say, your compounds me no be When you begin to eat, it's all bite into the broccoli. Those two compounds are released and then normal react together to form the sulforaphane. Now, broccoli is so famous for chemicals. Yeah, it may be toxic liver. No, it may be. But that reaction only takes place when you bite into it. So, blended broccoli now, you don't get that same reaction. And as I own broccoli, no money pecha. Bite so you don't get that same reaction. But the broccoli need a raw, and I say a slightly steam. That's a crunchy now. What come now? It created that crunchy feeling. Now that's what happens. Now the research found out said that chemical, that reaction was developed because a protective mechanism for the plant. So a plant, in the wild, in nature, and that's a more basso berry plant now. A buana didn't see more kind of grow not some reaction not take place. Not so sulforaphane a produce. The next bite, a buana be taking no, then not a buana gyre, no co. Indeed, that is a defense mechanism. A walk, the share plants, and we human beings get the benefit of it if we eat our vegetables. Instead of cooking it, I say blending. But that's it.
On similar note, no.
Uncle King.
Me pacha.
Obi de a unit to chatting. I was semi beside Pacrono so dear man to me. Now, Mammy Victoria Ninukuno. Then Uncle Kingston, there be a japort her. A japort could be Uncle Kingston over. Chatting will be the two say fiber. Bet Mamma, I walk fiber once. Was who bet Mamma a good example of fiber?
Okay. And I mean, here's me who intend more. Fiber, dear, generally speaking. Plant food be a refining be no fiber. That is a simple answer meeting the even though a be a king, be a champions of the fiber game. But plant food be a refining. For example, so far a more you didn't Ghana be brain white rice and fiber be any because you are refining the fiber in everything. But so the over red and now brown and as a black rice I am refining into the fiber be brain. Beans, fiber, mumma, whole grains, a toko, a real nina fiber, a womb. Bayre, bordia, nina fiber. And to be a plant food, be a young refinery and process no fiber. That's a simple answer, Mama. But so open the keen party, a grains, any legumes, and as a beans family, any grains, a toko, a wool, a bro, any a moon, a honum. And a fiber no work a oatmeal, say old-fashioned oatmeal and as a steel cut packed with fiber. Flax seeds, chia seeds packed with fiber. That's it.
Mammy Vicky, as a for you for no monko.
My boy, one kind we or see, and then examples of proteins too, protein plants.
Okay. Protein, no. Once I make us a protein, no. The best source are plants. Now, and no, the king of the protein, are the legumes, are beans family, no. And in the dynamic, as Obi Bisame said, where do you get your proteins from? It means the person doesn't know beans. Chickpeas, bambara beans, kidney beans, green lentils, yellow lentils, nina packed with beans. 1 cup of unsweetened soy milk, 7 grams of protein. Half a cup of cooked beans. Some beans here, regular beans here, about 7 to 10 grams of protein. Soybeans, tofu, nina protein sources. Almond and nuts. And beans, legume family, and nuts and seeds. A horn of protein, plant protein, a horn. But even broccoli crowd will be only say the quantity, but I hope the king the beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds.
Okay, it was as a for for monk movie and Japan, then Uncle King Saba.
Yeah, and tell me that say. Me patcho me question no what Dr. Kasano waka processed foods. Na me dey no say vegetarian niema ya to the year yi. So kosa China for almost grows the whole kototo bi o ha ya tro ho bitakoto be dried bean slice even so much ho vegan soya slice sanya manema nyina almost no have they not been processed almost processes sanya ma we nyina na dey begu rubber mu abi o ho a hu ati say rubber bi na ehihye mu na wo de to ensuo mu no a na afi na adani mire enso esi ho abeka say polythene rubber bi na ya nane no na ya ye nsa matoto sanya ma ni pi enti no ye di no is it not the same like processed food that woka ho asem say enye ya na another question bi so say so we ye veg so ye vegetarian na say the bia would fresh no kwa na because ni american makoto to bi so ya na madwene ye me say ni nyina ya process enti putogu ni hwegum ni nyina ya de kro doctor obebo me kakra.
Okay, that's it. Into your question, yeah. And most of the time, no, yeah, the enemy encouraging and they say a whole food plant-based diet. And no, yeah, me promote to whole foods plant-based diet. What that means, they say, who did plant food there, but it has to be whole. Just a young processing. Now, processing has to be very, very, very minimal. And you know, as a pastor business question, very, very important. Because in Ipani Bebre, they make the mistake of jumping from processed animal foods into processed plant food. Now, processed plant food, you know, the annual woman say, if you want money and refine it, but near the additives, the chemicals, Bebre, Gumwa, the name say, cause a lot of problems. In fact, there was a time, now there was a lot of stomach cancer, gastric cancer. Now, of course, Andrews University area. I saw for Bebre, no stomach cancer. Vegetarians. But it turned out to say, sir, vegetarian meat be na omoyere a gukan mumino. Na yadin chine any MSG, monosodium glutamate as sheno, and no more really be na sa high concentration of MSG and salt, you know, a promote gastric cancer. And until who the vegetarian, but because I highly processed in terms of problem. Into the ideal, you know, as I said, we're doing, you know, a year less processed as much as possible. And you know, yana me advice say, you bit me and cause you bit me a year raw, and I say a bag more, and I say a box mukra share who I am for additives be near in more. A better chance, you better the year processing. Because processed plant food can be equally as bad as processed animal food if the two have the same additives and chemicals in them. That's it. And about the fresh, you know, so we are vegetarian. I don't interest in necessarily fresh. That is the best. So that's the best. But so good frozen vegetables, ni fruits are. Industry, you know, there's a standard. The quite faso a processing frozen, you know, making sure to stay fresh and as answer, you know, farm wa. They cut it and they freeze it. And you know, the next best thing to fresh, you know, is the frozen. And also the obey they shall freeze them for a long time. And you know, so only fresh, you know, not frozen or what? Okay, obey me you soon. And you know, now question and the answer no. But so a question for Hobima.
Raw additives, man, kakran kahum. And you're vegetarian for say your community, your additives beer, you super. If a barcode de tutuli, na barcode de no. And no MSG. And I had to go a jollof from near boom. It is we cast a vegetarian. I try to come and know. I was say, ye my and crop for net here say. Even though no would I also need vegetarian, but with the gumwa, with the same effects. In Tisa additives, na they can be an honor. Mama ye were different kinds of boom say chicken fat. And so be no MSG. If you walk try MSG, no money different name. To dry war additives and hon made can hon say mummy ye and my jollof for them quan ye kama. But ye queer whose stomach cancer now all cano. Sa additives na ye usually will ye stew mu ye mumu. The two BBM is not good for us in Timmy night. Said ya Sabre Japo 10.
Maybe like in the acquire antivic fraseka was it would the good chance in my memory, so no the gunsu man done him. I dear. And yana na done him. Now, no United Nations studies be a by say 800 different studies. Monhade cause of cancer. Aduane a processed meat. Say a vegetarian. Say a mushroom. Say an entry. Say a turkey. A cause of cancer to say we would plutonium. To send ya would atrasa asbestos unum. To send ya wonum cigarette. Into want to mean fat vegetable. And as a mushroom I yet. Mompayengusu, nanane mushroom. Say a processed food are dangerous. My question on Dr. Jamfia Dwasibebre, we can de wash Shirayam, a quambebre so. My question here simple. Me no warfare was entry, ya say yache. Me who is a bribia walk as me hiano, or Pajan and Satin me, no say. The cost no emphasize it. Me feel come so near Woya, no, no, being Brenda Cofabai.
Enemy already. I'm a jeans nibi na. And when I become one sem that baby no. Loaded gun nana make Canada be genetics. Into no auntie now can be additives no. In fact, me were whole lecture be matuni din death in the kitchen. Now, and no dear, yeah, na me in time for neat lectures in him. So we invite him because I know yeah a shaking papa be in time for near anymore. In me buana kwa moi me present this lecture na mom. Death in the kitchen. Me go through all the different types of additives, plasticizers, some whiteness. Antioxidants, anti-caking agents. I couldn't through all that. Okay. Ye dini se say we nua nem. Nti no ya asempa na waka no ekuen pa ekuen.
And Uncle King so besa na babiem.
Myself. Yeah, media no media kan ama awikakra. Nidin kind no say bebre no ye bese ye vegia. Ya na enam se ye di nam achi ninti no. Ya na ye ho pre yen se me jai nam we di a ese mnya nam substitute. Bebre no ye vegetarian, we did all those kinds. Make I say ofie Ghana me started veggie 1983 and my wife 1982. Ya babeduru summary na One so by way so ya, be yourself so compare veggie nam be we sebaya, ubenya and namo we kind of but me say it is always the best. We say, yeah, who say veggie nam no be no ye too salty, or no be gum a man no sono, it me a produce cancer sena dog kind. In the pino attack and so vegetarian for crom tenya cancer in the vegetarian and yet the fact is say, we call you a year no cancer. The fact is be no one ye maybe our phone does not negate the fact that vegetarian is the best way to go. Say near ye. And in our churches, we can't get people to teach the right way of cooking, the right way of doing it. In the Pinasum Besame ye as me and Yamede. It didn't see it to me soon ye mo be ye. Winnie ya manu ye. Enchire ne sua so sua na hunu na wudi na yawoda adafono vegie no wobetimi ayo bibia kire se vegeduan enye I've gone through both worlds and I know say nyame adom vegeduan no aye kama so hunu yanko a aye kama the question is say pina na aye smooth no Of late, a smoothie with kale, with greens and fruits. But I kind counsels for that and food. It talks against mixing vegetables and fruits together. Now, yes, what is saying? And the man for day greens and fruits are. What do you say about it?
Yeah, that's it, Penny. I know they are no correct. Who yes smoothie, and yet so you fruit smoothie and now you fruit smoothie. We have vegetable smoothie and now you vegetable smoothie. In the know there's any work on the councils on diet and food that kind of clear. And yes, I'll mix the two. Now mixing the two fruits and vegetables, the who say a destabilized digestion. Science, is still behind. The science has still not caught up with the spirit of prophecy to show say this, but the woman who say a destabilized digestion because fruit by themselves, the digestion is very, very, very easy. You're quick. It goes in to make a transit time. The nutrients are absorbed and out. Vegetables, on the other hand, ocean of fiber now are more fibrous than fruits. And and only here more time to digest. And so mixing in what you're actually doing is distort digestion. A lot of the times here in digestion a process is ongoing. But and this some who did this is Antina and yes did in between me and I said they be now did so who did this is another digestion started. Next also could be before Froguswa. Digestion starts never stop. I bet take a break. Amma dear Abemus I start and son at the core first no atwaso. So you break your digestion now. And one of the things my transit time yet in Tintin. Now one of the things I bit near yes I need a mixture of fruit and vegetables in the same smoothie. And me I am advice say and go for yes in Tintin that's Saudi Arabia.
Doctor,
Me pacho munyina ho ye what 3 questions wo chat no mu I say
bad way I fa the doctor class is here no me fan so na o mi misal me pacho. Now doctor nani tomatoes are fruit and as a vegetable because with salads no dan na ye ka ho asem say it is the watch here. Can we eat it with salads or not?
So we share the biological definition of a fruit in the and then tomato fits that description of a fruit. But also the functional aspect, the content, and what they do, then it is a vegetable. Now, interestingly, so we share all cultures in the world, and all the cultures need that nyansa. Nobody uses tomatoes as a fruit. Diaka boyfriend one, I say, diaka. Aka anka ho and obi answer that enchre obi say tomatoes as say udika hu but ya media sa knowledge na hye mu ntino even though biologically and also botanically speaking tomatoes fit the description to be called a fruit functionally and practically it is used as a vegetable intubate me the account of salad ho edi that's it.
You better question so I enjoy that say. Wow, busa question. So when you said that we had the salad, said they all can say na me use no. The main thing so be the. Okay, questions to me and son. Was say no actually you no answer back. Or say please is it safe to feed children vegetarian diet? And I also say, do you have a YouTube channel?
Okay. The first question, yes, it is safe to feed children vegetarian diet. In fact, Kaiser Permanente also say, research the crowd on that. I just say, yeah, absolutely perfectly okay. So we feed children vegetarian diet. Why? All you have to know, and they say, anyone be home a vegetarian. So Mufi is being a vegetarian, all it means they say not eating meat and not eating animal products. And there was some very, very terrible vegetarians. Or now would eat French fries and soda. And so I'm a vegetarian. So, and he said, "Oh, did this not just a 1 year, as long as your Uncle King's guy who was seeing how to prepare it well. Now we in year no betting I am our betting me a vegetarian diet is perfectly okay." And now there's another organization, from example, physicians, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, almost a white paper be on a vegetarian dietary guideline for children. Yeah, it was me forward the Abramo.
You.
And me forward the Abramo actually. So be here.
Okay.
Talk, but you may add a little bit to feeding color with vegetarianism, no?
Okay.
Me so me am a laugh example. Ye my woman no were vegetarians. Nti eba krom ha no ye hwehwe kwan betumi afa so ebenya milka aboa de ni. Na ye konya bia na ye friend prosobi na me man me ense nyina nom ye firi collaborate mu a na nyame adom me hunu difference asafo ba ana me man vegetarian na ye na homte coach me baka akiri ko she baabi kuma na enam weye because of say me man me mom nam nwe no it's not right and no coach me ba she baabi man nam weye but adofo se obetimi ehunu noa hunu yo amen fan kan to me ho me man didi ofie a they feel so good me wife aduane dan say obakodi di baabi a say sa na odede te wo mo a wo mo nyini ko college enom ko fia ko di nam me pan ni ko college ba no ayesa dan because okoko wi no pebia French fries nam bia oba not say dan a kire no no ahunu say vegino free ho ko ye no me fi dia na sa na no ha no test that I think I want to go back to vegan. So mu free fear na onko we no they see the difference. But me gine say vegan say kwani fiase and I go to so dia we college and dia ba and the difference will continue show up in them. And yes, we betimi asua na wa kire e dia ya mankora no a they will eat akora de be finance bia say papa ma no a me ba kwa me wani asi kire da until say obedience kire ma ne di ye efiri wana fe no asi kire ne de. Ebi nyina na ye nia no be fi nkora no ase no usua hunu ye na ye balance there akora no be nyina unlike bibia enya milk ene mankora enyini witimi others betimi aboa me that's dog.
Yo, that's good input. Inshallah. Questions na ka ba ko do you have a YouTube channel? Me a YouTube channel na me started na COVID ebe bo mu na for some reason na me website crash it, me will be but me nyan started anya me personal videos and post to you, question yi kire me say me shemu yi me shame sapo mu nsuo na me kaja gum na me da ase as an inspiration me start.
Amen.
Ebiasna ba chat in movie.
Okay. So does it make any difference if you do vegetarian food a week and alternate it with other very regular food? And a second, is it food first, then actual food, or it doesn't matter? Okay. So, generally speaking, so you have vegetarian food, and then now next time, it's not the best.
No.
The best, and then so Okinawa longevity diet, the Okinawans, 85% plant diet. Animal product consumption is just 4%. And so ultimately vegetarian complete ideally, the best next approach, and then they say, ubeti sokra, ubeti wadrian and so now animal product consumption are less than 10%. Because right now a lot of people are eating about 40%. 50 be cry 50%. Will be on more about clinic. On only the enam kwan or enamne obisa. So I eat protein and vegetable. Vegetable ben odia baked potatoes. And you don't offend the vegetables. No. Oh, and you better say obey nesa so obeti unamoso kra na ya kitikitina the akani na plant food. A chance and never say name you vegetarian. Or me vegetarian. Say, oh yes, the danger. No, say you are tempted to make up for the enra when you and then your mind, you know, somehow you deceive yourself and say, oh, say enra ma mi binti na me we crash my enya hwe. So you know, yes I na you as square one unya any benefit be in free. You know, ideally, you know, yes I would tear down no so kakra kusi say obeti we do the barest minimum wow fee say obetimi tolerate na waka ho and this also not betting at was vegetarian complete and no it's always the best. Secondly, you know, I see fruit first, then actual food, or it doesn't matter. In the second, basically, you know what it is, they say the same meal, so it is not never a good idea. So we be fruit and vegetables at the same meal. And you know, the SSO say fruits, you know, unya time how be fruit. For example, who the breakfast? Who the breakfast maybe to say oatmeal, multi-grain bread. Who bet me the fruits are come. In the oatmeal, who bet me the strawberries, a good blueberries, a good oatmeal. No. Now they do multi-grain bread. Now they strawberry no and also pair bet make you chop papaya good chain and also bet me the orange biatun chain and also apple biatun chain. So no bet me edi. But who did me vegetables say salad, no many spinach, no many broccoli, no many adena dia yamfa fruits and mix sense. And now say senior yes didn't come say actually yam say eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. No, ideally, no dinner no should be your lightest meal. Dinner time, no, obey me the fruits. The fruits, no, during dinner time. Now, you know, because it's easier to digest and quicker. It will be digested in 2 to 3 hours time. Now I digest it. Now I feel you're ready to go to bed. That's it.
Pacho, Auntie ba.
One moment. I can't less than about 8 minutes near the program. No bury yet, you know.
Pacho, make us a question.
And you, Menana. Okay. Maybe we are now.
Pacho, media no ye oil ho asem no. Doc na okasa na okasa anadu ye ndudu ase ya vegetable oil ni canola oil ni nyina enye. Na mitie obi YouTube na okasa enwo kokko no eye pa na enwo kokko no ne yaye no se efie pa ga na enwo kokko no na ye se ubenya abe a ye nu no efuomu a enya agreka be na unsa wo mo nim afuomu ye wa abe papa ho aduro bie ni so na se wonya enunwo no a but ekromo ha ye we de ye nya enwo no eni nti nwo na ye di ni ha no se mpese mi jai oil no mo a metumi de nwo kokoye wa ha na si anamu ana ena me question ba ko bi ma me de to aso no oatmeal no so mi hu obi YouTube bi na oka se oatmeal eye pa se fiber na wo ka no na se ye betumi di a ma ye mfa nka eja ye ni no raw wo betumi a blend it with some fruits bi na wadi nti ano so no doc wo ka ho asem se oatmeal na ye ba se ye si jaso e kan oats na huru na afi aye bibi ba se obenya dia wo blend it with fruits the smoothie to say that now can I be no so doc wo dwune ho say
okay and yam fa
doc me add we no me
okay
the same question no because food and ade my veg no na my nka me ye chepa na anwa no o mo de chin ye man still na yeta na ye yere no mko me in fact na me ya me de teaspoonful nketu amienu pe na me de ache anwa no all others no me add water nsuo pa na mabomu no na me de nsuo mo aye so enti no so still betima boy ha because oil no ya no mo hwie de chin ne ma na ma eku ye nso eja oka enye yi
Okay, me that say. I know the problem for Africans, especially West Africans. But one of our biggest problems for any oil. Oil no so the same kind and because to begin with, such omega-6. Omega-6 promote inflammation. Inflammation also it leads to so many different disease processes. It leads to so many disease processes. It creates a lot of problems. And the oil no dey. Ebe ya yente sokra niani ya chichichini yesi yete sokra. And no crani. So analyze and why a lot of good chemicals and titi hone yenim Ghana no. A lot of good and but even and no crano so we need too much and yeah why because a saturated fat even though if you plant mono and any kube and these two near plant sources of saturated fat and a saturated fat and so the eda in the bit me ko moje mo kwa da ni peduam enti anwo no se ne na nanum di no kakra bi oputo ayina bomu no oputo kontomre no oputo a onchi oputo na anwo no wanani kakra bi no de agusu no de adi na pesie enso se ye ni sa enti no se uka se o de anwa na ye use no ha no de anwo be replace no in equal measure there and you make us there be because then you are robbing us, you are jumping from one fire to another fire. You don't want that. But some people say, we use and one send you and use no kakrebi. Now you put on you are not the good no any and no the ubitin because saturated plant protein, saturated plant fats, any oils, and no stimulate your liver, my liver and produce cholesterol and triglycerides. So you're not making fitness, And that's the reason why you should avoid that. And I'm the question means so by okay, and openi also the 2 teaspoons no now in suafra is the ideal. And we are ideal. We hear more than that because we share macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. You hear the kitwa pa, any fats. We don't need too much fats because we have fats now. You hear a crabby just to absorb the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. That's all we need these fats for. Now, and also things like I don't think we hear a crabby. In the yes, we need be abumuana and woana and what I need be. We don't need that. And we are one of the causes of a lot of the problems. That's it.
Akra openya asa ya samba kwa mesume de beto a wode no so ne se mo mema kure ya ma ne trafe o wi a mo se aduane na nyede na adane asam but me feel say vegetarianism edru ba bia ya quite taste and to said no woman nti e was say yenya abotre na ye per ultimate health nti we will have to sacrifice some stuff. About how better we are near to one. I saw them to me, Hunusa, to be the abomu besiho, the anguanino, and none a phone cosso. Send the Pacrono, I don't be me dear be bar saw down. A see wha quasi mammy be a betty be dear. Man found one so. O betty be dear or car said then, and son a man for betting tear was said. We need to be careful, see and fire me and quantity. We have to eat with our health in mind. Na home. Aka about 2 more minutes into Mama Yan.
1 minute.
Auntie me pacho me dia na ka ba ko oatmeal no.
Oatmeal.
Yeah. Oatmeal. Don't say you won't go for be a
You're my friend.
Efro. Yeah, but Efro.
Oatmeal no. On say aduane so we be aduane na unipa aduane be benefit from aduane na what you eat is important but what you absorb is equally important. Now so we me absorb so I just wait me breaking it down wait me digest and nunti na aduane bi to say oats you digest no you no because mo be ka you lecture no na me can the different types of fiber no because there's a particular type of fiber we oats my friend on the pectins. Those that type fiber and no na with dealing with cholesterol and triglycerides. But I don't know okay oat now no heat no na extracting about out. So enti aduane bi to say oats there I always encourage you say as say onwa you haven't killed anything. Ebinom promote raw food diet. Aduane bi how bit made in raw. Aduane bi so ho Nyankopon bo ne say ye noa ansa na ye di. Enti no ma ye gya no enti no oats there ideally na say okay. So the benefits of all those fibers, the best extract. But remember, typical example: tomatoes. Tomatoes, we made in raw, we in anwa. But your chemical, be phytochemical, be from the lycopene. Lycopene, is very good for men, prostate, and for anti-inflammation in general. Now, so the lycopene content, increases by 10-fold compared to raw tomatoes. So. Into process biya any benefits. Into na answer I don't know time into the basic hana anti atwaso.
Mami Julie, watch Mensa.
Yeah, me that's your contribution back on, not question back on. My contribution, they say, me me betna ha for long time or buy or joining a vegetarian aduane. Me who said the blood pressure time bia na wo from kama. E maybe buy or call Ghana or check akra. And so all sayaba. Or buy no yari sa intimate no ko doctor. Na omo checking the blood pressure no. Omo anya nti o chere me baby se me fa enko. Natural and the blood pressure in roof no. If you almost the netto blood pressure droso. What that's why be drew. Sabi ujaya na pressure no eba. Nti mwa me de boy say obey a vegetarian for a long time no. A man the blood pressure ye come. Oko fear. No, my sister also udinam. A man, the blood pressure no cause so so now what they drew so.
Diabetes.
Na was not so a diabetes and so they drew so. But what I said everything was nice and perfect because they're not would be vegetarian. The question is Dog Mpacho, tofu, what do you say about it? It been long say, and yet there was some properties be and yet intimate person who the truth of it.
Okay. Oh, me that's it. Tofu no.
Dog, not only tofu but soy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the biggest tofu what amount for the against tofu no based on soy out anything. When we say soy yet you shouldn't eat soy. Now generally speaking no I quite say carbohydrates argument now I say carbohydrates in here problems so no. They take it out of context. Say carbohydrates, what type of carbohydrates are you talking about? Are you talking about refined carbohydrates and I say unrefined, unprocessed whole carbohydrates? Now, so that question now be say unrefined whole carbohydrates good for health, and refined processed carbohydrates bad for health. So soy, there are two kinds of soy. There is the genetic modified soy and a GMO soy, and soya a non-GMO and as organic. Entino okay. Intino GMO soy because of the kind of fast creating process and the chemicals you do and no na emanenye. But so when you organic soy a very good healthy good source of protein. And no you tofu. And a tofu no so kind of fast no ye na mami big my example say Chinese for store bi o ha ba koto near the name be afrefa omu no omu timi ekatikonness Into your money man ya na why careful kakra. But say when you be your honomu who say a year good non-GMO organic tofu. Now check okay who now you for additives ni maybe am fry a good source of protein. I'll bet me use me used to be. And as always, even with that, no crowd, a processed, a tofu no, and a yam, and as a fermenting a kakra, it goes through a little bit of fermentation. And sana be tofu. But sa fermentation process, no, a be no more timid near maybe kika one. But so only as a simple, to say a brownie and mori. From a brew to a mori, no one say a moreno, a pampa kakra because you're fermenting. But that fermentation also brings out certain nutrients. Unyan or a brew, common a brew. Sana tofu, any soy and sotie. And you bet me the soy, you bet me the tofu. If the tofu no a good non-GMO organic with no additives or no any maybe afra. That's it.
Okay.
So very easy to make. You bet me to non-GMO soybeans. Add the IBI milk, add the tofu. Now, how would you can tell the difference. I've been doing mine for some time now, and I can't buy it anymore, and it's very easy to make.
And food processing so as the matching wife, I met you and mommy. A day I was specializing in instead say a debacco factory. I could say mushroom papa no. Your friend of mine bet you bet me preserve instead of process.
Beautiful. Yeah, you know me call Argentina. That's something almost dear papa. Almost me preserve from grapes to garden eggs to crumach. So is so good. No ma preserve. Into be call omu seller. To say I say seller near the sun egugumu. Oko southern Argentina. Everybody has a cellar there, but the cellar no. Preserve. So beautiful. So beautiful. Until the can no press. Mobile invite ni Panama na be chema anka mobile benefit from that.
Number mama no say yen adopted taste and no mommy wife so catch them man say take your daughters to the kitchen at once and teach them how to prepare a wholesome meal. And I'm say a vegetarian into nanchres and say yede. And mama no bakasa home. And Tiana mano akaisa quotation.
Say so man so bet me a shiabi. So man shiabi a man beat me a vegipa, mut me a vegetarian. And say no, nam set environment no so until yes a man so can come to the kitchen and also help. Now you're good at you. That will boy mammy sauces me boy.
Oh yeah, me mediana no apa. Ntina akwantu na me tutudu nyina me ana me no mediana me nidi abonten.
Very good.
Auntie abo mama yenim ye pa. Yenim aduane ne ye pa. Only say mo my enkwan mem na me kan me we experience ntia. Nti yenim ye.
Amen.
Ma'am said na Mommy Juliana wawie. Yes, I'll make you last one and I am for program number ye adwini the chair be frau.
My real dear na you kakra me can say stew no. Because say young lady be catch me that me de money for a question see auntie o fro no. And cheap so yeah na fine. Or koye bi ofie ne maame say me enti veggie no enye veggie nko udi nam kra ni say o chia ma ahodi o mo no nyina afri wo damase
Doc na me kan from beginning ne say ade no on say ade be ho no mo a unyini a nia ye ofie na usua edintino ye mbebre no an ma bebre no a ye ware wo mo no sa na ne maame no aduane a esisu a che enti bia young girl a wo fie ase se wo ye no wo ma be ka che se emene ye no aduane sa It also you ubusua na oswa no answer mama no ano. It is all stew a more I can say tomato stew mienu a. Baako towards yellow. Baako towards brown. Wouldn't say brown no asija so achepa bi pino no se asija so anya sa office meye. Ese chia ma edane e free tomatoes ne color no kodane brownish no nsa abene. Enu ho no akum ne mamu ni nyina.
Yes.
Anything no ya sani ajole kan no. I say mama ye bo a mama ye sua. E ma ni nyina e wasoro nyina e ba ni besua. Dr. Boakai, Elenwati akase obaten bia wodi aduane fun besi o manim ukunanim edi bekum wo mo no was at sania Dr. Boasa na wakan yo na meka obo ameboa was at sania wodi etuo asitimu no ato akuno edinti no eyese ye makwan mamma no much as yesua twosem se ye no yenya daage na yensua mama ye bo amokwa ebia one thing na mo sua mo bia hunu sometimes me hunu se mo ye na bebre dodo mo ye we na mo ye we entim omon krof enkro no na won sua hwe e bia one thing this week mo mesua e do kra mo repeat me ku hu make sure say oba bia hunu saade ne yo ansa na mo akọ next one I make sure say obi hunu no yo ansa na mo akọ next one last time buy mo ye katekwan mo ye hwan kwan mo ye stew mo ye say mo ye bread obedu ho no wan sua hwe dem wa yenye mako ni ntimi sua ni be boy ye ni mema ni nyina yensu mesua bi
na me dey to aso nse yen ko fa maame amachi na one share how to do process.
That's good.
Food. If we say it is say wo koto maame veki ni mre yawo say adane mre akoto ni bi de wo say it say na wo dey atre nu plutonium mu na wo de wo twon mutan obinya cancer na so processed food nkwa.
Majwa, one last question. Nanka microwaving food. No say na okay question na people say maybe say is it okay?
Abadia ya man address na ya de we ya last one. Me de anka me pesa ye beto aso but. Awo yensem. Enti no. Wasofo na eja Kofi Ado. Yen to aso kakra na say yen family wiye.
Kofi mo dada anyway. So
so must yam family.
Okay.
Me who message bia no must cut off near 6:30 or 7:30. Ame. Yeah, you know much almost close na a cut off near 6:30 p.m. Okay. Okay, me answer very quickly. So microwave no there. Me mamenka the minimum science no na menka the mean so me personally there me. Personally the success credit me say me microwave. Me there me there say me come do an share me dey go yi palm na me amenu maka ne hye. Sa na me dey me tie me ye fie no microwave fie oba me ankasa de obeche me say me use microwave once in like a million then I me use kakra but me pay research no a busy and yet to say I said there is no hard cut off where you say microwave but you say microwave in general microwave by itself no ebetimi akoso cancer yenim sa say microwave by itself etimi cause cancer but sa domestic microwave here I didn't wear biane no ebinom say enough waves to promote cancer ebinom say there be and yet enough to cause cancer and ebinom use ebisi ebisi there be the science no split enya definitive answer but me no I always like to err on the side of prevention intina personally no me dem in microwave so me na me use so I mean use so just I have to then I do. That's it.
Yeah, that was bebre. Me go along what you are saying because almost say and near money ni but me and on the side the same me minimizing the use.
Exactly.
Eventually, you better say a cause of cancer, which radiation. So and yɛde bɛsi hanom nti ɛnnɛ weekend wa bless yɛ nyame afa kwan hodo so abless yɛ paa ama yanya a new insight ɛwɔ helpful living and helpful temperance ɛwɔ yakwantua yi mu nyame nhyira wo ne wabusua ɛne nkora ne nyinaa deɛ mo bɛyɛ biara deɛ mo ahwere ne wɔ yɛ ho biara no nyame ɛmfa ɛnhyɛnhyɛ manam amesere because obi aposi bibi wɔ ha actually yɛ bɛka na masɛm nyame ɛmfa nhyɛ manan ɛda wase bebree na yɛnim sɛ this is only the beginning. We will call on you. Additives no say you're very interested pa nti so wo kwan wo wa yi ni so a yɛsrɛ wara ya na wa me yɛhunu sɛ de bɛyɛ a ebetimi abuku app na waba abɛyɛ amaye nti yɛde bɛsi hanom yɛda wase ɛnɛ wa bless yɛ pa amen count. I cannot say enough. Yamina ebi a yɛnhu nsunsunsansoɔ ɛho mfasoɔ right now ba wo de wagu aba no yamina begugu so yame mmie wadwene mu hɔ na kɔ so proclaim the word of God na obɛhyira so ɛda wase da sɔfoɔ asɔre mpanyimfoɔ asafo mma yɛn nyinaa da wase mucho gracias enti yɛde nada enti ɔsɔfoɔ asɔre panyini Kofi Mija chire hamam. Umaya na mumpone ye.
Yo yada help for us at the moon as the doctors or the radinam the sour de amaye. Na me doctor I can a month for ban or doctor I said to say.
Oh, some your clinic.
Okay.
Me clinic no patients near banon and make our massam say. Most of the time, no more here, more problems. So no more clinic.
And you will be a Dallas, how which me a baby.
In fact, will be a bit more bad. The only limiting factor, no any insurance, you know. Once insurance and it goes by state. It be on my own team farm one state and quite another. But more Ben had to say New York for the I'll meet my driver ban. Meet me drive about no mobile insurance and cover crowd because okay, yeah, see about you be cash, no mupia. That's the only limiting factor. Apart from that, lady will be a bit nearby.
And will be will be so and file number man on friend. So that's a pass one my access and I did it for said the doctor. If you are now the agency more which me have friend of private now. Only why she the ready in shop, ready in shine, I mean, it's Uncle Pono or do buy in some na Yamayana or no Abishra Somana, getting the Ayatuma. Na Enchano Bay, no Abatri Nipet, the answer, Yana Wasawasa. Na Etimia could eat by Sanda. Why didn't you have a blue way home? If he's enka, ye high wanka, you obey them in immediate. Radishra na yes, ready mount. Unti Mesrena Edamachi Amay Mako. Now you ready the doctor on a bompire mayo.
Yo.
Medical bompire the amount of Busia. Now you are which your mamma a friend Billy Watchmensa on Tiafo, on an Casan. Yana bomb. Yana, what kind of
or your Mrs. Tapenin cranty.
Okay, and say a Rajafa switch idea. I think when they are coming home so dear. Nti we are making carbon pie na also abo the ish masa fu konko e da machi mbacho ma enyo mpako
my Jesus, I love thee, I know thou art mine, for thee all the follies of sin I resign, my gracious Redeemer, my Savior art thou, how if ever very stream. I love thee for wearing the thorns on thy brow. If ever I loved thee, my Jesus is now. I love thee, life, I will love thee to death, and praise thee as long as thou lettest me breath, and say when the dead dew lies cold on my brow, if ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. In mansions of glory and endless delight, I'll ever adore thee in heaven so bright. I'll sing with the glittering crown on my brow. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now.
I get it for one simultras na afe mene doctor yemom paye bra yemom paye no onto so two class ne fa ho hye Nyankopon no nsa wo nyina ye nim se otumi ade nyina ye eno nti na otwe aye bisima ye nim nseme yesre so won hwe so yemom paye Nyankopon ne abankese tumi ni ahoden wura efri enra ena wonam wakoa so ade nkyerɛkyerɛ bebree abɛboa ya ma yenya apɔmuden ade aye wadwuma atwen wo ma ye toso mienu no wonam wakoa so dia ma ye esrɛ sɛ nsɛm yi a wakoa bɛka akyerɛ ye no esrɛ sɛ obɛma na tena yakoma kono so ne ya adwenem ma yɛmfa nsɛm yi nya adwuma sɛ de bɛyɛ a ɛso bɛba mfa so ama nipadua a wode ama yɛ sɛ yɛhwɛ so yie apart from sɛ Awurade yɛbɔ abrabo papa na afi yɛahyɛ wɔ nimonyam no yɛ nipadua yi osi wutim ɛno nti yɛnyɛ no kama ne yɛninini ɛno nti yɛdawase wakoa yɛde ne hyɛ wo nsa wo ne na busua bibibia wahwere wɔ yɛ ho no Awurade mesrɛ sɛ hyɛ na mu ma yɛ ka wo ka sɛ wo charge anka yɛntimi ntua alawo nyame yɛnim sɛ wobɛtumi ahyira no ama wayɛ ɛhyira na dwuma yɛ mu bibia wobɛyɛ bia no Awurade bra wasɛ brɛ wɔ yɛ ho no onso ehu one na busua nyina emɔbɔ ne hyira wo ma yɛ wasafo konkron hyɛ wo nso Nyankopɔn na wotwe foforo na yɛbɛhyɛ asie wo ma yɛ nim nsɛm wo de wo nim nsɛm nyina sɛ bibi wɔ hɔ a enkade wɔ ha wo bɛbrɛ wo bia ra yɛ ba wo nim bɛtie wɔ asɛm yi no srɛ sɛ fa tumi no ahoɔden no eyi ne nyina afiri hɔ ma yɛ twredin wɔ nkwa no no na ba yɛ nyankwagye de ama yɛ kra yɛ ne yɛ mmɔfra ne yɛ mpanimfo nyina srɛ sɛ fa wo nhyira a eni kabea no ɛpɔn yɛ ɛwɔ yɛ na Awurade Yesu din mu nti amen
amen batampenya me saa ne yɛkɔso da wase yi wa yɛ kamfo din ma odin kronkron no so fi sɛ wo nkwa ne nyame wani mo bi ni hɔ na wachi obi ni hɔ Awurade yɛda wase yɛtontom mo yi wa yɛ hyɛ odin kronkron ne munyam yɛda wase Awurade deɛ wayɛ ma yɛn ene da yi mu nyina free enra nwumre a besi nnɛ waka yɛn ho aboa yɛn na yɛabɔ mmɔden sɛ yɛbɛma odin kronkron no so Awurade sɛ yɛn kasa yɛ mu no sɛ yɛka biribi a amfa nimunyam hyɛ ama wa yɛsrɛ so bɛhu yɛmmɔbɔ no ade bɛkyɛ yɛn na waboa yɛn na deɛ yɛka yɛ nyinaa no watɔ nhyira bosua gu so ɔbaatampa nyame na yɛtumi de ayɛ adwuma ahyɛ wo asafo Awurade wɔ nimunyam na nka aba a deɛ yɛde nsɛm yi bɛyɛ no ɛbɛsoɔ no anka yaba afoforo a wabɔnten kra betumi ate bi adi na atwe ɔma bɛn wo asafo Awurade so nkokwan so ne yɛkɔso wade yɛnua ne yɛ anti Julie ɛhyɛ wo nsa so nkokwan so ɔbaatampa nyame yɛsrɛ wo wo de ɔyɛ nyame a ɔyɛ nsɛnkyerɛnne nyame bibia ɛnso yɛ wo a wɔkasa yɛ ma ayarefoɔ ne awufoɔ sɔre efiri yare ne ewuo mpa so no enim sɛ bibia ni hɔ no ma ɛso yɛ no bibia na you are never too late ɛna biribi nso ni hɔ no ma yɛ too late ma wo sɛ wo awurade wontumi remedy engineer shroud yɛ sister yi ɛne yɛ auntie hyɛ wo nsa so mpokwan so ɔbatampa nyame sɛ wobɛto wo nsa bɛto no so baabi a ɔwɔ biara no na ɔdo wama wo honhom kronkron no aka no afi ne tiri so kɔsi ne nan ase ɔbatampa nyame na nka nam wadom ne wahummɔborɔ ne wayaresa honhom ne tumi mu nti anka wasa asɔre agyina ne nan so biem ɔbatampa nyame na sɛneɛ na brabɔ yɛ nyɔne na busua brabɔ nyinaa woma yɛ w'adwuma adi adanse ahyɛ w'animonyam no yɛ ogyidie sɛ woyɛ wei nso ma no a ɔmfa w'aseda ɛnni obɛdi adanse ahyɛ w'animonyam ama wiase nyinaa hu no tumi ne wɔmaniyɛ yɛda wase sɛ watie yɛn yɛda wase deɛ wayama yɛ auntie ne yɛ nuabaa Julie yɛsrɛ wo sɛ woyama no nopa ne yɛ point of contact na ayarefoɔ a wɔyɛ mu nyinaa fa nsa ka wɔ biara yɛda wase yo yɛda wase ɛwɔ Yesu Kristo din mu ne yɛbisa wadom mu nti amen.
Amen.